Machine presentation. Presentation. Intended use. The double-disc centrifugal spreader was designed and built to spread granulated fertilizers, seeds in general, and limestone. It distributes with a working width of 16 to 36 meters, depending on several factors such as climatic conditions, density, humidity, and granulometry of the distributed material. Machine components. Reservoir. Container to store the product to be distributed. Left rotor. Distribute the product. Right rotor. Distribute the product. Main gearbox. It transmits rotation and power to the other gearboxes. Left gearbox. Transmits power and rotation to the left rotor. Right gearbox. It transmits power and rotation to the right rotor. Protection grids. Prevent the passage of debris or clods. Dosing regulators. It regulates the dosage of the distribution. Hydraulic cylinders. They open and close the bottom of the reservoir. Agitators. Moves the product to the bottom of the reservoir. Dosing bottom. Sets the flow rate. Launchers. Launches the product in fan form. Steering plates. Regulates the point of fall of the product in the rotors. PTO cardan shaft. Transmits rotation and power from the tractor to the machine. Operational safety. Instructions manual. The manual is fixed to the chassis of the machine. Remove it and read it carefully and then store it in a place accessible to all operators. Safety precautions. Read this manual carefully before using the machine. It indicates the good safety practices that must be observed and respected during all stages of use. Get used to the operating procedures, maintenance, and safety information. We remember that the preservation of people's health and physical integrity must always come first. In the event of any doubts, please consult our after-sales department. General safety. The stickers found on the machine provide a series of important indications. Respecting the signals is a way to safeguard your own safety. Replace illegible or damaged stickers immediately. Warning. For the operation, use and maintenance of this equipment, it is strictly important to follow all the rules contained in the manual of this equipment that is delivered with the machine. This equipment requires specific knowledge and must follow all the rules correctly to guarantee its proper functioning and safeguard its operator. Existing risks and necessary actions. Never get on the machine while running. Risk of falls with injuries to the spine, head, and limbs. How to eliminate the risk. Never get on the machine while it is running, either during transport or during operation. Turn off the machine, remove the key starter and wait until it is free of movement before approaching or climbing on any part of it. Keep safe distance during operation. During the operation, fertilizers or seeds are launched within a radius of up to 16 meters. Within this working range, people and animals can be hit and suffer injuries. How to eliminate the risk. Keep away from work area when machine is operating. If you need to approach the machine, turn off the power takeoff from the tractor and wait until the rotors stop launch product. Never touch the moving rotors. Risk of serious injuries such as fractures and kinks in parts of the body in contact with launchers and moving discs. How to eliminate the risk? Always keep distance from the rotors when the machine is in motion. Never approach hands, arms, or any part of the body without being absolutely sure that the rotors are fully stopped. Application and functionality. Continuous flow. It has 2 rotor spreaders with 4 launchers each, mounted horizontally so that the fertilizer is distributed with a continuous horizontal flow. The oscillating agitators mounted on the reservoir outlets ensure continuous distribution flow, preventing the formation of tunnels and clumps, clods, that can block the flow openings. Dosing control. A system of bipartite and overlapping plates, positioned at the bottom of the reservoir, opens and closes the opening, regulating the mass flow on the rotors. The opening and closing of the dosing plates is done by hydraulic cylinders, controlled by the dosage regulators as shown in the image. A steering plate with an opening at the bottom determines the point at which the product falls onto the rotor. The combination of the material density, discharged flow, and the point at which the material falls into the launcher discs determines the application range and distribution uniformity. Uniformity. The launchers can be set at different positions on the disc. Altering the angle of attack adjusts the concentration of the spread product, making the distribution more or less uniform. Robust construction. Thanks to its robust construction, polyethylene reservoir, polyamide/fiberglass protective grid and tubular structure, the machine is sturdy and safe during operation. Rotor discs, launchers, plates and dosing bottoms are made of stainless steel, as well as their fastening elements, nuts, screws and washers, giving the system a longer useful life. Launchers adjustment. The spreader has 2 rotors containing 4 launchers each. These parts can be arranged on the disc in 4 different positions, angles, suiting the product to be distributed. To change the position of a launcher, remove the screw that marks the concentration number and move the launcher to the desired hole. Repeat the process for the next 3 launchers, remembering that all launchers must be positioned in the same hole number for a correct concentration of the applied product. Note that all launchers are positioned in hole number 4. The same process must be applied to the left disc of the machine, positioning the launchers also in hole number 4. Product distribution. As the launchers are moved to a hole of a bigger number in the disc, the concentration of the product at the center of the distribution range increases. Dosage adjustment. Regulation of gateways. Using a wrench, loosen the base screw of the gate, repositioning it from hole 5 to hole 1. Replace and tighten the nut with the help of a wrench. Repeat the process on the other side of the gate. Using a spanner, loosen the base screw of the gate, repositioning it from hole 5 to hole 1. Replace and tighten the nut using a wrench. Adjustment of the steering plates. On the back of the steering plate, remove the screw that locks the assembly. On the front, loosen the plate stem bolt. After removing it, rotate the plate and reposition it as in the example of hole number 5 for hole number 1. Then replace the bolt and lock again, remembering that the holes must be in the same number. Note that the drilling used in the steering plate was the same used for the gates. Always follow this rule: plate and gate always set in holes with the same number. Removing the oscillator agitators. With the help of a wrench, remove the 4 nuts from the screws that secure the grids to the machine's reservoir. Now remove the reservoir grids. With the aid of a long pin, release the transport rings of the set that fixes the reservoir to the structure. Attention! To remove the reservoir, it is necessary to lift it on 2 people, as in the example. Remove the reservoir from the machine frame. Attention! If your machine has adjustment shims in the fixing points between the reservoir and the machine frame, be careful to replace them when assembling. With the help of a wrench, loosen and remove the agitator from its base. Repeat the process on the other side of the machine, removing the agitator from its base, taking care that in this case the unscrewing direction is clockwise. Refitting the oscillator agitators. Position the agitator on its axis and bolt it all the way in, remembering that, in this case, the screw is reversed. After screwing, tighten it with a wrench to finish. Repeat the process on the other side, positioning the agitator over the shaft and screwing in until the end. Finish with the help of a wrench. Note that in this case the thread direction is standard. Attention! If your machine has adjustment shims in the fixing points between the reservoir and the machine frame, be careful to replace them when assembling. Attention! To lift the tank, it is necessary to lift it on two people, as in the example. Replace the reservoir on the machine's frame in order to fit it perfectly. Pay attention to the correct fitting of the reservoir bottoms to the plates. Then reposition the transport rings that secure the reservoir to the frame, not forgetting the shims, if any. Finish tightening with the help of a long pin. Replace the two grids in the reservoir and then reposition the J-hooks that secure the grids to the reservoir. Screw the nuts onto the J-type hooks to later tighten them with the aid of a wrench. Optional limestone kit assembly instructions. With the help of a wrench, remove the 4 nuts from the screws that secure the grids to the machine's reservoir. Now remove the reservoir grids. With the aid of a long pin, release the transport rings of the set that fixes the reservoir to the structure. Attention! To remove the reservoir, it is necessary to lift it on 2 people, as in the example. Remove the reservoir from the machine frame. Attention! If your machine has adjustment shims in the fixing points between the reservoir and the machine frame, be careful to replace them when assembling. With the help of a wrench, loosen and remove the agitator from its base. Repeat the process on the other side of the machine, removing the agitator from its base, taking care that in this case the unscrewing direction is clockwise. Machines produced until January 2022. Limestone kit composition. In order to distribute limestone, the specific kits must be used, which can be purchased together with a machine, upon request, or later separately. Limestone kits are optional and do not follow the standard machine. The kits are composed of agitator and limestone-specific rim. Attention! These notches have been implemented on machines produced from January 2022. Notch. Attention! If your machine has adjustment shims in the fixing points between the reservoir and the machine frame, be careful to replace them when assembling. The base of the scraper of limestone agitators has a chamfer that differentiates the left and right side. Pay attention to this detail so as not to reverse the assembly of the kits in the machine. Insert the scrapers into the agitator shaft, then, with a wrench, give the final tightening. Attention! If your machine has adjustment shims in the fixing points between the reservoir and the machine frame, be careful to replace them when assembling. Replace the reservoir on the machine's frame in order to fit it perfectly. Pay attention to the correct fitting of the reservoir bottoms to the plates. Then reposition the transport rings that secure the reservoir to the frame, not forgetting the shims, if any. Finish tightening with the help of a long pin. Correctly position the agitator rim at the bottom of the reservoir. Then fix them in the holes where the grids were mounted, using the 2 screws supplied with the limestone kit. Note that in order to return the grid later, we do not recommend making 2 additional holes for fixing the rims, since the 2-point support is enough. Position the nut on the bolts that hold the rim of the agitator, then, with the help of a wrench, tighten it. Position the agitator beater on the scraper pin, then using the cotter pin, fix it to the set. See that the limestone beater rotates freely supported on the rim. Never use the agitator without its parts from the complete kit, as misuse can damage the machine's reservoir and its components. Remembering that the limestone kit must be mounted on both sides of the machine. This image shows the assembly of the limestone kit on only one side in order to illustrate and exemplify their assembly. Disassembly of limestone kit. Remove the cotter pin from the beater, then remove the beater from the scraper. Remove the nuts from the bolts that secure the limestone agitator assembly rims to the sump. Remove the limestone mixer ring from the reservoir. Remove the reservoir from the machine frame. With the help of a wrench, remove the scraper from the agitator base. Attention! The screw that fixes the scraper to the agitator shaft on the side, left, assembly, the direction of the thread is the opposite. Lubrication of the machine and its components. Before lubricating, clean the grease fittings well to avoid grease contamination, and replace any damaged grease fittings. Lubrication is most efficient when done at the end of the working period, as the grease flows better while the machine is still hot. Lubrication of agitators. Lubricate the 2 agitators daily through their grease fittings. Recommended lubricant: lithium soap-based grease and LGI2. Lubrication of rotor gearboxes. The gearboxes of the 2 rotors are permanently lubricated, so periodic lubrication is not necessary. In case of maintenance of the box, use grease specification NLGI00EP, example, Petronas Tutela Hoda MP0EP. Box grease capacity, 350 grams. Lubrication of the central box. Machines produced until April 30, 2022. The oil change of this box must happen after the first 50 hours of work, and subsequent changes every 400 hours. The recommended oil is SAE 90EP, and whenever the change is made, it is recommended to do it at the end of the working day, as the oil will be hot and the impurities will flow more easily. Central box lubrication. Machines produced from January 5, 2022. This box leaves the factory with permanent lubrication, lithium soap-based grease, NLGI00 classification, example, Lubrax LIDH00, eliminating the need for periodic lubrication. In the event of maintenance of the aforementioned box, remove the old grease, wash it well and apply new grease in the same quantity and specification, 470 grams, according to the manual. Cardan lubrication. Using a grease gun or manual pump, lubricate the cardan crosses every 8 hours of work and the bars every 20 hours. Use lithium-based grease, NLGI2. Coupling the machine to the tractor. Choose a flat location for coupling the machine to the tractor and keep alert when you perform this operation. The only item that needs to be mounted on the machine before using it is the cardan shaft. If there is a need to cut the cardan shaft, follow the instructions according to the sticker on the machine. Mounting the cardan shaft. Remove the cardan from the packaging. Couple the cardan, male side, to the machine shaft. Approximate the tractor to the machine, aligning the tractor power takeoff to the machine's drive shaft. Start the coupling by the left hydraulic arm. Fit the hitch pin and then insert and lock with the safety cotter pin. Next, attach the right hydraulic arm. Fit the hitch pin and then insert and lock with the safety cotter pin. Finally, couple the third point of the tractor to the hitch of the machine with the hitch pin and its respective safety cotter pin. PTO cardan shaft. With the machine properly coupled, start the tractor, making sure it is braked. Operate tractor hydraulics slowly and carefully. Start the hydraulics and position the machine's shaft at the same height as the tractor power takeoff. Turn off the tractor for coupling the cardan to the power takeoff. This ensures operator safety. Attach the female side of the cardan to the tractor. After placing the cardan, secure its chains at fixed points on the machine and the tractor, so that they are well secured and allow articulation in any working and transport condition. Depending on the tractor used, it may be necessary to adjust the length of the cardan shaft. Check and, if necessary, cut the shaft. Proceed as described below. Before coupling the cardan to the machine and the tractor, remove the protective cover of the same to facilitate the marking of the cut. Using a screwdriver, release the locks to remove the shaft guards. Repeat the process on the other side of the shaft. With the two parts of the cardan coupled, machine and tractor, place them parallel to each other. In this position, there should be a maximum clearance of 25 mm. Cut 25 mm. Gap. Mark the places where the cuts will be made, leaving the indicated gap of 25 mm. Lock the cardan in a vise or using a tool on a secure base and make the cut in the markings made previously. Pay attention to the proper use of PPE. Using a sandpaper flap disc, remove the burrs that remain after cutting. You can also use a file if you don't have the disc available. On the inner walls of the cardan tube, use a file. Don't forget to cut the guards to the same measurements as the shaft. After making the cuts, fit the cardan protections again, taking care to position the cone lubrication point coincidentally with the grease fitting. Machine leveling. With the machine properly coupled, start the tractor. Work leveling. Start the hydraulic system and lift the machine until the indicated height is reached. It is recommended to distribute with a working height, distance of the discs to the ground, of 75 centimeters. Side leveling. Looking at the machine from the side, it must work level for correct operation. To achieve side leveling, release the tractor's third-point arm safety lock, extending or shortening until the desired level is achieved. After leveling, do not forget to activate the tractor's third-point safety lock. Rear leveling. Looking at the machine from the back, it must work level for correct operation. For rear leveling, extend or shorten the outriggers, right and left, of the linkage arms until the desired level is achieved. To ensure uniform distribution, it is important that the machine works level with the ground. Note that by adjusting the stabilizers we were able to bring the machine to a level. Connecting the hydraulic hoses. Couple the hoses onto the valves from the tractor's remote control, pushing firmly. Turn off the tractor and remove the ignition key before servicing, adjusting, lubricating, and cleaning the machine. Consulting the distribution tables. First, locate in the instruction manual the table corresponding to the product that will be applied in the table. Locate the item tractor speed and the corresponding column in kilometer per hour. To facilitate the understanding of the procedure, let's take the following situation as an example. We need to distribute urea with an application rate of 195 kilograms per hectare, with the tractor moving at an average speed of 8 kilometers per hour. In the table, locate the item tractor speed and the column corresponding to 8 km per hour. Look for the value that is closest to the intended application rate, 195 kg per hectare. In this case, we will find the value 194. Without leaving the line, go to the column opening scale, where we will find the number 11. After consulting the product table and discovering the value of the scale opening, we must make adjustments to the machine. Dosage adjustment. The spreader has an exclusive regulation system and an application rate adjustment composed of 2 graduated regulators and a hydraulic cylinder for each rotor. This system is independent and can be operated individually. Hydraulic cylinders. Dosing regulators. Turn the dosing regulators until reaching the number 11 on the scale, thus regulating the opening of the hole in the reservoir plate, and consequently, which will be the flow rate of the product to be applied. Repeat the process on the other side. Turn the dosing regulators until reaching the number 11 on the scale, thus regulating the opening of the hole in the reservoir plate, and consequently, which will be the flow of the product to be applied. Dosing opening speed. It is possible to adjust the opening speed of the dosers. It is recommended to fully close the speed valve and then open 1/4 turn and test the opening speed, always respecting the same regulation on both sides of the machine for correct distribution. The valve leaves the factory fully closed. After adjusting with 1/4 of a turn, do the hydraulic test verifying that the opening and closing speed of the system is not excessively high or low. Dosage calculation. Use the distribution tables provided in this manual. In them you will find the information necessary to carry out dosage calculations when distributing the most used fertilizers and seeds. Overlapping the spreading. To compensate for the deficiency that occurs at the ends of the distribution profile, it is convenient to overlap the immediately preceding pass transversely, as shown in the illustration. For more information, consult your equipment manual. Preventive test before starting operation. Check carefully if the launchers are in good condition. Check if the cardan is properly locked in the machine shafts and in the tractor's power takeoff, and with the safety guards mounted. Check that the tractor tires are at the correct pressure. Raise the machine to the desired distribution height, respecting the maximum allowable incline for the cardan shaft, 15 degrees. Turn the tractor power takeoff at idle, wait for the system to fully run and then slowly accelerate the tractor until it reaches 540 RPM on the PTO shaft. Observe the operation of the machine for a few seconds. If you identify any abnormality or failure of machine functions, excessive noise or vibration, turn off the tractor immediately. Daily cleaning. Turn off the tractor and remove the ignition key before servicing, adjusting, lubricating, and cleaning the machine. With a wrench, remove the nuts of the J-type screws that hold the grids to the bottom of the reservoir to clean them. Then remove the grids from the bottom of the reservoir. With the aid of a compressed air hose, pre-clean the agitators and the machine's reservoir in order to facilitate the washing process. Remove all product residues that remained in the machine, including the launchers and their components, still using compressed air. Wash thoroughly, drying any water that may have accumulated on the machine's protections. Hydraulic components must only receive low-pressure water jets so as not to damage the seals. Neutral pH cleaners offer optimum machine protection. Products with very low or very high pH may be corrosive when used on plastic or rubber surfaces. Wash inside the reservoir, removing all existing residue. General recommendations. Never run the machine for prolonged periods indoors and without ventilation. The carbon monoxide expelled by the tractor's exhaust gases is highly toxic. Keep the maintenance area clean. Wet or oily floors are slippery and dangerous. Always park the machine on level ground. Use tools in good condition when performing any work on the machine. When replacing screws and nuts, use the same specification as the originals. Always use the proper torque as specified in the torque table in this manual. Before starting a hydraulic repair, relieve pressure in the system. Periodically tighten all fixing nuts and bolts. When completing a maintenance procedure, ensure that all safety guards are in place before putting the machine into operation. It is mandatory to use personal protective equipment, PPE, during maintenance work on the machine. After the first 50 continuous hours of work, it is essential to retighten all existing fixing screws on the machine. When servicing with the distributor raised, never use the tractor's hydraulic system to keep it suspended, chock it securely. Disconnecting the hydraulic hoses. Disconnect the valve terminals from the remote controls by inserting the protective plugs into the valves and hoses. Turn off the tractor and remove the ignition key before servicing, adjusting, lubricating, and cleaning the machine. Uncoupling the machine from the tractor. Choose a flat location to uncouple the machine from the tractor. Be aware when performing this procedure. Set the tractor parking brake and lower the machine to the ground. Release the chain that holds the cardan protection to the tractor and then uncouple it from the PTO. Loosen the safety cotter pin and remove the third-point hitch pin. Repeat the process on the left hitch of the machine, releasing the safety cotter pin and then removing the hitch pin. Finally, repeat the process on the right hitch of the machine, releasing the safety cotter pin and then removing the hitch pin. Check that all points are disconnected and carefully move the tractor away from the machine. Annual overhaul. It is recommended to carry out, preferably at the end of each season, a general overhaul of the machine at your dealer or at the factory's technical assistance. Thoroughly machine wash. Dry any water that has accumulated in the machine. Touch up the paint where needed. Replace worn or damaged parts. Apply anti-corrosion oil to the metal parts of the machine. Lubricate properly. Attention during cleaning work ensures safety for everyone involved. Failure to pay attention can result in personal injury.